Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 78 of Pivot with Dr. Malaika. I'm here with Dr. Zanthia Reddish. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who she is, but one thing that I can say is this is her second time here on Pivot, so I'm excited for her. I want y'all to check out her first conversation with me, which was episode 26. Dr. Zanthia, the Ball Mom Doc, is an author, edupreneur, and certified life coach. With Empowered LLC, she offers transition coaching for athletes, drawing from her background as an NBA mom and educator. Specializing in guiding parents of 5th to 8th grade basketball players, she creates personalized plans for their success. Dr. Z holds 5 degrees, including a doctorate in education. Come on, educated! And resides in Atlanta with her family. Pivot family, I want you to welcome Dr. Z or Dr. Zanthia Reddish.
It's always a pleasure to get with you, my girl, from
Yes.
back in the day. Yes, one of the true day ones, like
Yes,
from way back when.
absolutely. I always tell people this story about the twin girls on this block called New Street back in Norristown. I don't know if you all just moved there or I started going outside to play or whatever. And I came outside with my bike and it was like y'all had the same bike. Like all three of us had the same bike. And it was like, wait a second, who gets the same bike? Like, so I am very, very, I mean, ever since then, we've been, right? We've been cool.
Yes, yes. Since very, very little girls. Because I think we were definitely under 10. So
We were like 9,
like,
because that's when I started
yeah.
living with my grandmother, like really started living in that house. And y'all
Mhm.
lived directly across the street.
Yeah. Isn't
So
this something?
shout out to
So
Norristown, Pennsylvania. Okay.
yes.
We're rep
19401 in the
19401,
building.
215, and
Yes.
610 now. It was
Yes.
215.
Yes. Yeah, look. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 610.
610. And look, and 484. Don't forget the book. They got all kinds
484,
of numbers. 267. But anyway, but we really
King
talk
of Prussia
610.
Mall,
That's
Plymouth
right. That's
Meeting.
right.
Yes, yes. So
We go
listen,
back.
we go way back, and that's why it's such a pleasure to have you here, because it's like God reconnected us. I really feel like
Yes.
that. I mean, we've seen each other, we've known, we know the same people, we're cool with we just know the same people. But the bottom line is, I feel like this was such a strategic meetup, connection,
Yeah.
reconnection. And so what I want to do is just have a conversation with you and allow you to come back and just talk about what's new and what's exciting with you. I was reading from your book, Alley Oop.
Yes.
Okay. This
Hallelujah.
is the second edition.
Yeah.
And so I love it's the ultimate assist for parents and athletes. So this was the start of something for you, correct? And
It
and
was.
and you've just been moving ever since. So tell us just a little bit about the second edition.
So this is a book, and thank you for getting it, for your support with that. But yeah, so this book, I wrote this book back actually during the pandemic. It would have been after we had our first pivot interview,
Okay.
but and I wrote the book because I was used to fielding a lot of questions from other parents about how to navigate the space.
Mm,
Having at the time, my son, my older son, was in the league and had been for a little bit of time, and it was just a lot. And
right.
I was helping people along their journey, and I thought, let me write down some of these things that I've done and these lessons that I've learned along the way. And I put out the book back in 2021, the first edition of the book.
Mhm.
Didn't tell anyone, didn't make mention of it or anything. And COVID was happening and all that. And I was led to share the book again
Mhm.
and rewrite the book, make some changes to it, interview some people. So this second edition is a lot richer than the first edition in that it's not just the lessons that I've learned, but it also includes some lessons from different players and coaches and other parents. Some interviews I had the opportunity to do, including my own sons, getting their opinions about things that they wished I had done differently in
I love
parenting
the
them.
interviews.
So yes, it's always a good time to hear from your adult children. They let you know, child.
They
They
do.
let you know.
Honey, what they
So
couldn't say when they were 5, they say when they're 20.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. So it has 22 points for parents of athletes, just helping them navigate the space. It's not about the sport. It is about parenting, about the deliberate positioning and placements that we give to our children that allow them to go a particular path. And for mine, it was basketball. For someone else, it may be another sport. So this book is for anyone, any parents of any athletes in any sports, in any levels of it, because it's really talking about our journey.
Yeah, I think one of the things I enjoy is your quotes, meaning, and it's not just quotes, but it's your learning tools, the things that you've learned and that you're sharing with folks who are reading this, especially parents who are athletes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like, just reading this, it does not sound like it's an easy journey to navigate, right? It is
Yeah.
not easy when you have athletes who are driven, who are elite. But even if they're not elite, but they desire to be in a certain place, the kind of investment that it takes for a parent is really critical. So the whole idea of navigating through that journey with your athlete, I like to say with your athlete, is tough. And I love what you do is provide your tools. I like to call it tools and
Yeah.
strategies on how to help parents navigate. And I love that. It's not about the sport. Like,
Not
don't
about
ask me
sport.
about basketball.
Yeah. Yes. And we do that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. People think, okay, but your child's in the NBA,
Right.
so you
Teach
got
me
it
something.
made. But the reality is, it is even harder. The higher you go up in level, the more challenging it actually is. And
Yeah.
so I'm talking to parents. I actually decided in January, when I did go and do this second edition of the book, that it was important for me to focus on the younger kids more
Mm,
so than the older ones.
right.
So I've had my consulting firm since 2018. We talked about that probably a little bit when we talked in our last interview.
Yeah.
But a lot of the clients that I've had over these years have mostly been high school aged families
Mhm.
of athletes who were probably 11th and 12th grade, who were looking for scholarship opportunities and didn't have everything that they wanted. And
Right.
so they reached out to me, and I was able to, I have a 100% success rate in helping families meet their goals. But we also had to establish those goals. And so what I found was, when you come to me in the 11th and 12th grade and you have aspirations to go to a particular level, for
Mhm.
some players, it's not going to be feasible if you are not ready.
Mm,
So I
mm,
spend all of my time now really trying to get out in front,
mhm,
preparing them for the next chapter before they get to it.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so fifth through eighth grade is where it started for my children, where they started to really hone in on their particular sports. At the time, it was basketball and football. And so being available to answer questions for parents who are in that same position is really important. And as a retired school principal, I help them not only navigate the sports space, but also the school space, because they go hand in hand.
Yes.
So I'm able to make sure that we're out in front. We are looking at schedules. We are having conversations with guidance counselors, or school counselors, I should call them, principals, and the like, so that when you are in 11th or 12th grade and we know what your goals are, you're in position to be
Right.
able to pursue that. So that's
I,
why.
I was looking at some just one of the things that you talked about of the approximate 100 teammates that Cameron played with over the years, 10% played professionally.
Yeah.
10%. And so and I love your reference to being called versus or being selected versus being chosen. And it definitely, you said something, you said, you have to decide if you're ready, or you can tell, I'm sure, if that athlete is really ready because of
Yeah.
the work, the journey. It is no joke. Can I just say it like that?
I
Okay.
wish you would, because it really isn't. And
Yeah.
that's one of the ways that we had connected also with your boys playing sports at
Right.
that high level as well. So definitely I can see how this definitely resonates with you. But it is about readiness. It's about being prepared. And I don't know if y'all can see my t-shirt.
Radiologist.
I am the world's only
I
radiologist.
love that.
And
Please tell the people what
I will tell,
term.
you can't really see my whole shirt. I do break down the definition, but so it is a play on my last name, which is Reddish. But it really is talking about being ready for the next level. And so a radiologist, Dr.
Come on.
Z, the Ball
Right.
Mom Doc, is a doctor who prepares others for their next chapter. And so I am preparing athletes for their next chapter, whatever that is. So that's why I'm trying to get out in front so that I can help you get there. It is, I spend time working with families individually based on their specific level by their specific sport so that we can make sure they have everything in place to be successful. And a lot of times, if I'm honest, parents just don't know. And it's not because they don't care. They're doing other things. It may not have been something that they are very familiar with. I had the benefit of being with my children along the journey. I have one, as I mentioned, in the NBA, but then I also have another one who's playing Division I college basketball. So I'm not just talking about things I think about. I'm living it. And like you said, it is no joke.
It's no
So
joke. And can I just say something? Can I fill in something? Playing Division I, and I married somebody who played Division II, okay? But playing on a Division I level and a Division I level athlete, as you said, there's even more expectation, pressure, challenges, unexpected that
exactly.
come with playing on that level as well. And
Yes.
so we think, even our kids, they think, the kids today think NBA, NBA. And I always tell the kids, especially when I worked in higher ed, listen, before you get there, you got to start here. How are you managing your business here in
Yes.
in college, as an
Exactly.
athlete, in high school? Like,
Exactly.
how are you managing? So I love this radiologist. I love that. And that clearly is the presidential edition of the shirt. That's the presidential edition. That's the owner's edition right there. Okay.
That's right here.
Because
This
there's
is it.
only
So
one.
yes, there's only one radiologist, but there's radiology, right? And
Right.
so that's the business that I am in, helping people prepare for their next. And so that's what I'm doing on this sports side. And listen, I mean, we can do as much talking as we want as parents.
Mhm.
I think it also is helpful to have an outside voice at times.
Okay.
I find that that's what's made me most successful in this business, not just hearing some of the things that I was able to do with Cameron and Aaron,
Mhm.
but also just being another voice. Our
Right.
kids don't always want to hear from mom or dad. I might be saying the same exact thing that you're saying,
Right.
but your child might receive it from me
From
a
somebody.
little bit differently. So
Right.
from me or someone else. So
Right.
it's just, there is help out there.
Right.
This is the message we want to get out around alley and your athletes. There are other people who have gone before you who can help you along the way. And for that, if I can do that, if I can really specialize in being the radiologist that I am, then my living is not in vain.
That's
And I'm
right.
I'm blessed because of that. So
I love that you talk a little bit about this in the book. And we'll talk about more, but I do have to say this, keep your circle tight. And this is the rim, chapter 10. And it's so important. Just even hearing that there are maybe some parents who aren't as involved, maybe they don't know. They're just so excited for their athlete to be in that position, right? To be in the number, as we say in
Yeah,
church, right?
yeah,
But to protect them, there needs to be a level of awareness and input and investment, actively investing in your athlete as they reach that level. So
absolutely.
like you said, you have a son who's in the NBA, you have a son who is a Division I basketball player. And so even as they get older, there's still some level of involvement, even if it's just, especially since you have to hear what people are reading and what people are writing and what people are reporting and social media, so there is still some involvement.
There definitely is, and that circle piece is huge, and it's a learning lesson that you go through as you're, you know, even in as adults for us. There are people that you have met along the way that you met for that little short season of time, and then there are lifetime friends like us, that we can
Right,
go back, 10 decades, multiple
right.
decades of friendship. I just think about that circle piece though, so critical because everyone who is in your circle may not necessarily be in your corner.
Ooh, stop.
And so you need to
That's,
be
that's good.
mindful of that. Yes,
Everybody who's in your circle may not be in your corner.
correct. And so that's the discernment that we would need to seek God's will on as we are working with our children and interacting with other people, learning to discern who's actually in your corner, who's for you, not just going along with you for the ride. Everybody, it's Dr. Zanthia Reddish, aka the Ball Mom Doc, and you are watching Pivot with Dr. Malika.
So it sounds like, you've learned a ton. You have learned enough to write books and more books. Um, and like you said, 100% success rate, as well as young men who are going to carry on the legacy, right? Who are going to move forward and who are going to change the world by what they do, not just on the court, but who you and your husband have raised them to be, right? Their character. So that clearly is a wonderful thing. But I want you to talk a little bit about what you're doing and what some pivots that you've experienced, okay? Because as you know, we are pivoting because life be lifing.
Life lives. Yes, we are, and to God be the glory, we are living, right?
Right.
We're living this life, we are going with the flow. And I have pivoted quite a bit since we talked last.
Hmm.
Uh Again, COVID had hit,
Hmm.
and that changed the landscape for everyone.
Right.
But one thing that I think I feel like when we talked last, I was doing my business. I had empowered, but it's really begun to grow arms since we've talked last
Okay.
because we're going in multiple directions. I I've been working with parents of athletes.
Yes.
Again, more recently, have scaled it back to focus with just that middle level, fifth through eighth grade, ideally. Although I'm here to support anyone who needs support.
Right.
My focus is fifth through eighth grade. But the business has also grown to focus also on education in general. As you mentioned in my bio, I consider myself an edupreneur.
Yes.
Heavy on the edu, I'm working on a preneur because, yeah,
God
because
damn
I'm an
it.
educator at heart. I
Right.
want to give the information. I want to make sure that you have what you need in order to be successful. Because again, that's what I'm called to do. I'm called to empower others. And so that's exciting, but that educational consulting arm has grown for me. And so now I was able to add another arm where I have another book that is coming out.
Come
It's
on.
called it's called The Heart Leader.
Come on, heart
The
leader.
Heart Leader. And it's talking about those characteristics that leaders often exhibit that will help them to be effective in creating what I consider to be the most important ingredient to success, which is having a culture of care when you're running an organization. So these are the parts of it. So that HEART is an acronym. It stands for humility, empathy, authenticity, relationships, and trust. And the book goes into how I was able to cultivate those characteristics over the years to develop really successful relationships and a culture of care that made me very successful in terms of raising achievement and building morale and climate. So I'm helping other leaders do that with this book. And I'm super excited
Yes.
because you happen to know, because you're such the supporter that you are, I actually put the book out for as an ebook, just as a pre-order. And in that little bit of time, just a week or two ago,
Right.
it's already become a bestseller, number one bestseller on Amazon in 3 categories. Look at God.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. I was so excited about this, but what's even more exciting, and you're probably the first person I am sharing this with, so let your audience know
Share,
we
share,
have
share.
an exciting opportunity. So that was the ebook. I am going to be releasing the paper copy of the book, and I am going to be allowing people to recognize heart leaders in the book. And so, if you yourself are a heart leader, or you know of another heart leader that you want to recognize, it could be a principal, a teacher, it could even be a parent, because, hey, we're leaders in our own right, even as parents. You can recognize that individual in the book when you pre order the book. And once it goes to print, they will be getting their signed copy. So I'm super excited about that, making that available to people, because I've had some people along the way who have made my journey a lot better, and I've learned so much, and I'm just so grateful to be able to pass along some strategies and tools for other leaders to continue to be successful. So
Well, first of all,
exciting.
congratulations. That is so
Thank you.
I that is
Thank
wonderful.
you.
I can feel the energy. I'm like, okay.
Yes, I'm so
Yes,
excited because I'm like,
yes,
I mean, look, listen, I look at leadership honestly as a love language. One of my love languages is like, how you do things. And so to be able to put together this work, and I work so hard on it, to be able to put together this book, to share that information
right.
and with these qualities that are very innate a lot of times to women. I work a lot of times with women, and these are qualities that we naturally have a lot of times. So being able to really delve into that and teach others and share just a little bit of my journey and how it's helped me and how it can help other leaders. I'm super excited. So yeah, we're going to be putting that out there so folks will have an opportunity to recognize all the heart leaders out there. Yay.
Heart leaders. Okay,
Yay.
tell us the title of the book again.
So it's called The Heart Leader.
Okay.
HEART is an acronym. How effective leaders cultivate a culture of care
Okay.
for organizational success. So I'm a retired school principal. It's a lot about my journey in schools, leading school systems, but it also is applicable to leading organizations, churches and organizations. So
I love
exciting.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
The and you know what thing about God, he will take he doesn't waste anything. I think my pastor says that he doesn't waste anything. He will take this piece of you, that piece of you, and because you're seeking him and putting him first, he'll bring it all together, even though you have no idea. You're like, how does this all connect? So here you are, a retired principal, you are a mother of an athlete, you are writing, you are presenting, you are training, you are teaching, you are mentoring, and he puts all that together and comes up with radiologist. He puts all that together and
Sure.
comes up with the heart leader, a book.
It is, it
So
is, it is all God, all God,
yes,
all God. Please hear me when
yes,
I tell you. But to your point, I just look at him. I just look at it. I give all glory to God because I did go, when we talk about the pivot, I went through this season of transition.
Yeah.
That happened after, even though I had transitioned into a new state and was, figuring out what I was going to do when we talked last.
Right.
But I actually started to go through that.
Mm.
And listen, it was so hard because I really did not expect what transpired.
Mm.
And so I have another newfound respect for being ready for things because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I talk a little bit about the Heart Leader. That
Okay.
book is coming out. What you don't know though, which is again hot off the press,
Hot
with
off
the
the
pivot
listen,
with the pivot
listen,
podcast.
we're getting so much
Yeah,
good hot off the press.
I'm
Okay.
getting it all. Oh, no,
This is not tea. This is good, solid, hot
listen,
off the press information.
hot off the press. Nobody even knows this. So there is another book. Look at God. There's
Okay.
another book that I will be releasing in a few weeks as well. It's called Adapt Her. Now, let
Ooh.
me tell you this. Here's listen, pivot family. This was the real pivot. This right here.
Okay.
So I wrote this book earlier in the year, but I was not released to release it.
Okay.
The Lord would not allow me to release it. This book, Adapt, is also it's called Adapt Her because it's really, really geared toward women.
Mm-hmm.
But ADAPT is another acronym that is talking about the process that we have to go through when we're navigating a change. Again, all going back to the radiology of it all, me being a radiologist,
Yes.
helping you to prepare for your next chapter. So in the book, I share my journey, my pivot to becoming an empty nester. And I was excited. Let me tell you something. I was excited to be an empty nester. I'm like, I can't wait. Aaron is going to college. This is going to be everything.
Right.
Well, that's because I didn't know what was going to come once he left. He left, and then Cameron also got traded. So both of my children moved up north, and I was left down south because I moved to Atlanta. And so, and then life started hitting me in a way I never expected. I went through a bout of depression, and I really felt very lost. And this book goes through that journey and the steps, the specific steps that I followed in order to rediscover myself, my purpose, my passion, and reclaim my power. And so I am looking to help other women who are going through life transitions. And I wasn't allowed. The Holy Spirit would not allow me to release the book. When I tell you it's written, cover, formatted, everything ready to go. I had to wait until just a couple of weeks ago. The Holy Spirit said, now you can release it. When my godchildren graduated high school, and now the last of my own that I'm raising, now they're actually going off and their parents are going to be empty nesters. So now I'm released to share this tool with other women who are going through life transitions. Again, it's all about being ready. And so the book talks about how we can do that. Listen, I'm going to also be sharing opportunities for people to pre-order their copy of Adapt Her. If you're going through any life transition, a new job, empty nesting, a new baby, a new relationship status, a divorce or something, whatever. All of those things are going to require you to adapt, and the book will help you do that. Look at God.
So you have been, I love this because there's something different. Those of you, this is our first season of being available on YouTube. So you won't be able to see our interview 26, episode 26. But I will tell y'all, Pivot Family, that Dr. Z is definitely new and free and fresh. And I just so watching you, I'm just watching you, okay, as one of the three that had this, we had the same bike, to now. And I'm thinking to myself, this woman has been through something and has come out on the other side. And what I love is, and it's something that we do as women, we want to help others, right? So now she's putting this thing into print. And I applaud you, okay, because there are so many women out there who are saying, I really want to write a book. I need to write a book. I need to write a book. And you're doing it.
About the climb. We've been climbing, but I will reach back and lift. That is my desire, to be able to lift others. And again, it's a calling. When I had to rediscover when I think what you're seeing now, when you say that there's a difference, you use the word free. I do feel free to be my authentic self. Yes. And there was a season where, and it's in the book, y'all. Y'all gonna have to read about this, but I struggled with that. I didn't know if I could show up as my authentic self and be accepted for that. So I was overthinking it and, dealing with imposter syndrome and all this kind of stuff. Listen, once the Lord allowed me to overcome that, I truly became free.
Yes.
And it was a process, and it was painful. Let me be clear. I'm not talking, it's not, just follow these 3 steps and you'll be fine. No, you're going to go through some things, but that's just it. The book is called Adapt Her, Grow with the Flow. And I'm all about how you grow through the process. You're going to go through it anyway. You might as well grow.
Right. I love that. Yeah. So when can we expect?
Within the next few weeks. In the next few weeks, y'all. It's coming out in the next few weeks. So I'm going to be making all of those things available. I will share my contact information with everyone. It's really easy. Dr. Z Reddish, drzreddish.com. That will have all of my links and contacts on there. So the books will be on there, and you can get your pre-order, all those things in just a few days. It's literally hot. This is the hot stuff. Hot off the press. Yeah.
Yes. I love this. Thank you. Okay. So I must say, as the host, right? Thank you for sharing all this good new information that no one else knows, right? I can't wait. So what I do, though, something you touched on, and I do want to be mindful just of this, what you talked about. You talked about what going through it. We'll learn more in the book when we go and purchase. But if you could just share some of the challenges, maybe 1 or 2 challenges that really hit you when it came to the pivot, right? So I'm a woman who is going through a pivot. I'm transitioning. How do I get through this? What are some things that you can tell me that I can do today after watching this episode, as I'm going through my own pivot? Yes. A hard pivot, not an easy pivot. It's hard. Some pivots are easy. It's like, oh yeah, great, and some are challenging.
That's just it. Because change is hard. I feel like change is hard, depending on how you choose to look at it. So even good things, like I said, I was looking forward to empty nesting, and then I wasn't. Okay, how about that? So I mean, what you're already doing a good part of it. One of the most important things, and it's one of the A's in the adapt. It really comes around the acceptance of where you are, right? So you've already, like you said, yours is a hard pivot. This wasn't necessarily the thing you chose to do. You're doing what you have to do, and so along with that acceptance, you actually have to start making strategic moves. And I have seen Listen, I need to go. I should have on my my nice little bling. My go be great. What am I thinking? Wait, I said, look, don't make me run upstairs now. Look, I'll make you pause this thing. Well, I'll come back and have my new and improved my bling on it. But yes,
That's right.
you have already begun to do that
Mm,
by accepting. And I think a lot of people can learn from you and your journey in that. I think when you go through a season of change, you also you've got to spend some time with you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of times, we're so busy being busy that
Doing
we don't
nothing
get to
sometimes.
look. We don't get into the busyness of
Mm,
looking at ourselves, the business of looking at
right,
ourselves,
right, right.
and spending time with us and allowing God to download what He has for us,
Yeah, yeah.
and that it's so easy to get caught up
Mhm.
in life because like I said, life is lifing and life's no matter what. But I don't believe that if not for that bout of depression that I went through, I would not have sat down. I would never have learned this about myself because I didn't have time.
Right,
I didn't have time. I ain't got time for that. I got
right,
to do, boop, boop, boop. I got to be
right.
all that. So that acceptance piece and taking the time to reflect and really process and learn who is this? Like, who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I to
Yeah.
decide who I'm going to be? We're always in some stage. We're either who we were, who we are, or who
Mm,
we're going to become.
right.
So this book helps us go through the process of weeding out all those different spaces so that we can become that person who we are going to be, who we're called to be, who what because see it doesn't happen unless the Lord allows it. So
Mhm.
there's a reason, there's purpose in it.
Yes.
So it's also a lot of times we have to look at our how we see it,
Yeah.
right? And we talked about that probably last time we
Right.
talked. But that perspective is so important. So we talk about a lot of those things in the books, but I would say the acceptance piece is really, really important. And then really being strategic in our next steps. And I have processes to go through in the book, reflection exercises and activities that you can do that by the time you're finished, you really are through. You've grown through the process.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you hands down. So grateful that you took some time to share with us what you're doing, what's next for you, what we can look forward to. Where can folks find you?
Well, I'm on everything as Dr. Z Reddish, okay, DRZ Reddish, but you can also go to drzreddish.com
Okay.
to be able to connect to all my pages, all my links, all my books, all those things. It's all there because it's like a link tree type document. So go to drzreddish.com.
Dot com. Dot com.
Dot
Oh
com.
my God.
Period.
I
You do
know.
your pivot and your period.
Period.
Boom. Boom.
I'm
Yes.
so
Yes.
grateful, y'all. It's always wonderful to have folks come back and share what they're doing. But when you know you're bringing back family, people that you know, right? That's a wonderful thing. And so I'm just so grateful that you're able to come and talk a little bit about just you've been rebranded, redefined. Okay, the core of you is there, but like
Look, we're ready. Look,
you're
we're rocking our red. We rock
that.
our
Are
red.
you
We're
ready?
ready.
I-
Yes.
but that's awesome. So I just
Yes.
want to say, everyone, Alley is out now. Second edition. It is now available.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, you do interviews. I love the interviews with Kim, and Aaron.
That camera will go right in. Let me be clear. He lets me know in there, like, yeah, this is what you need to do. And but it's not just that,
Yeah.
I've got other parents in there, WNBA players,
Yes.
just I wanted to get a variety of different perspectives,
Mhm.
really talking about what they're actually telling parents. This is what we
Yes.
would have wanted. This
Yes.
is what I wish my mom had done more of or done less of
Right.
so that I could be successful. And they've made it to the highest levels. Even the coaches, and talking to the coach, one of the coaches in there talking about what he wants to hear, wants players to know and parents to know,
Right.
that's happening behind the scenes. That kind of stuff is really important because I think a lot of times, again, we just don't know it as parents. And so to have that as a resource is great. But yes, so there's Alley Oop, and then there's also the Heart Leader that's coming out this week, as well as Adapt Her. Grow with the that
I love it. I love it. Dr. Z, thank you so much for joining the Pivot family and sharing so much about you and just how things are going, how things are progressing, your pivot experience, and the tools that you provided us so that we now can go through some of this. We can navigate our own pivot experiences. So we just appreciate you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Pivot family, for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to Norristown. Got to give y'all a shout out again.
Going
Okay,
on.
in town 610.
Yes,
I
the
just want to thank you.
610.
And we just appreciate you. And you know what? You can always come back. I don't care what you're doing. You could be doing something new in the next year. You're coming back. And hopefully we will be doing some fun things together as well. So
Let's grow. Let's
stay
grow. I'm
tuned,
all about it.
stay tuned and keep your eye out for Dr. Z Reddish because she's doing big things. All right. Thank
Thanks, y'all. Now, don't forget to go be great. Go be
Yeah.
great, y'all.
Go be great and be nothing less. Thank y'all so much for joining us.